And he said if we do those things, all those other 10 commandments Moses gave us, all those will fall right into place, because you're not going to steal from others if you don't want to be stolen from you. If you love your neighbor as yourself, if you truly treat others the way you want to be treated, you won't commit adultery with your neighbor's wife. Okay, you're not going to do it. You're not going to lie and besmirch somebody's character and commit false testimony about somebody else. You're not going to do those things. You're not going to murder because you don't want to be murdered. So you're never going to kill somebody in an offensive manner. Do you understand how this works? And it's all so simple, folks, but they've tried to make us believe that it's convoluted, and now I'm talking about religious, so I'm a religious guy, and of course they've turned religion into a pejorative term. That's why I call myself irreligious. I like to say I'm the least religious guy in the whole world, because I'm not. I'm not. I believe in Jesus. And what did Jesus say? They tried to nail Jesus. Religion had taken on a pejorative term even then, because these people were saying religious, oh, master, religious. So, I mean, they knew it was splitting off to where, you know, religious was, you know, supposed to be good, but, you know, they were turning it into something bad under the pretense of being religious. So these religious authorities, and they tried to accuse Jesus. He said, you know, the religious, you know, this and that. He says, what is religion? What is this? He threw out an example. Religious is caring about widows and orphans in their distress. Okay? Speaking of widows and orphans, you know, the parable Jesus taught about the poor widow putting in 2 pennies, which was all she had to live on. And how in the sight of God, her 2 pennies represented more wealth than all the wealth all these rich people were putting in. And it's like that with taxes too. You understand? Taxes and tithing. This is where these idiots got this idea of taxing. You understand? It's the idea of tithing. But at least a church, well, there was times a Catholic Church, you know, they were very controlling, authoritarian, totalitarian, and they were killing people. And so they got, you know, they had to cool their jets. And that, you don't see much of that anymore with the Inquisitions, Crusades. And this is what really stirred up hatred in the Muslim world, was this kind of behavior, trying to cram ethics down our throats and moral compass down. Oh, no, we've got our own culture. We've got our own religious beliefs. So stay out of it. And you got to respect that, but certain people don't respect that. Okay? And so religion has a bad name. And that's how these people operate. So Christianity has a bad name because it's been conflated with Catholicism. But Catholicism, they don't even recommend you read the Bible. So they're, you know, what do we, if you don't know? You're in confusion. They want us in confusion. If you're confused, then you don't know. Like they say, knowledge is power. Then conversely, ignorance, which is the opposite of knowledge, is disempowered. So they like you and they don't want you empowered. They don't want you to understand these basic concepts of what they've done and how they've done it. And then, you know, you become re-empowered, reinvigorated, and you start talking boldly to others, and you confront the issue, and you make sure nobody, you know, wants to debate this with you. And if they do want to debate it with you, you know basic economic principles so that you can tell them how this whole thing has been carried out. It's all been through the money system, this money-based reality that they're controlling. Okay, and this is it. They're willing to do things to get their way. So votes don't matter. If the vote doesn't go the way they want anymore, then they just assassinate you like they did with JFK. So this guy is a threat. If this guy gets elected, he's going to introduce sound currency. People are going to figure it out. They're going to get a taste of freedom. Then they're never going to let it go again. Once the masses become empowered by this sound currency, we end poverty. We end desperation, we end crime, we end dubious warfare, we end debt, they effectively end our ability to control you. If we the people had the power of the printing. Do you understand? So who's the government? If they're not protecting it and protecting our ability to have sound currency, they're nobody. I've got no use for them. So these people, when they tax the poor, and all these vagrants, whatever they want to call them, the homeless, you know, all these people are paying taxes, okay, and they get no representation, and the taxes they pay in the sight of God is far greater, okay, than all the taxes that the rich are paying, because it's more significant. They're given a far greater percentage of their wealth, of what they have, to the church or to the tax collector, whoever it may be. If it's property taxes, you're paying it to the county tax assessor, okay. If you're paying it to the you know, you're paying your federal or state taxes, you're paying it to the IRS, the United States Treasury, Okay, so you understand how all this works, but it's coerced. That's the difference. It's not voluntary. They mandate it. You do it, or else there's consequences. There's ramifications. They can seize your bank account. They could take all your stuff. They could throw you in jail. And if you try to escape their clutches, they could shoot you down like a dog. There's something else in the current news. This poor guy running away, he's got a warrant out for not paying his child support. And he said, at least, you know what, I got one afternoon left to be free. And, you know, he was acting stupid. He ran away from the cop. The cop, and, you know, fluoride infected brain probably, and it acted like an idiot nonchalantly. Bang, bang, bang. Just shoots the guy 8 times while he's running away. What the hell is wrong with us? This is ridiculous. Look what they've done this to us. And yes, I'm angry and frustrated. That's normal. If you listen to a guy named Michael Tsarion, spelled with a T-S-A-R-I-O-N, you'll see he says the same thing. You know, the people that appear to be the craziest sometimes are actually the most sane people, okay? Because they're the ones that don't fit in. And this brings me into one of Jesus' teachings where he said, you must hate your life in this world to have everlasting life. And a lot of people would just, you know, they'd turn away from a teaching. They'd say, well, that's ridiculous. I love life. I'm grateful for life. That has nothing to do with it. Okay, what he meant was the system. In this world, in this system, there's another term that these people have altered, okay? Because the world he's referring to as a system, but now the world now has been conflated with the earth. I'm not talking about the earth. Yes, love your life on God's green earth. You not only have a right to do that, an entitlement, but you have a duty, an obligation to enjoy your life. God gave it to you. Enjoy it. He wants you to be happy and free and at peace. You know, so like I say, it's a miracle any of us can contend at all with this system. I mean, it amazes me all the time because it weighs on me every day. When I see the disparity keep growing, the wealth keep getting concentrated, poverty increasing. Okay, God knows that I need him. I don't care what people say. Yeah, you need a crutch. I don't care. Because yes, I would go absolutely stark raving mad if I couldn't make these videos and speak out and turn to God for a little solace and the hope to know that sooner or later the day of reckoning is coming. The worm will turn. The tide is going to turn. And God's will is going to be done on earth. So just understand that. Yes, I'm very optimistic. And I know that eventually this thing's going to turn around. The big question I have is how bad it's going to get before it turns around. Because remember, we're up against monsters, literally inhuman, because they hate humans. They don't behave in a human way. By their fruits you'll know them, and by their beliefs you'll know them. Because by the beliefs you produce your fruits. So they are really, your beliefs are the most powerful thing, because that's what manifests your actions, your behavior, your words, your deeds. So, you know, the beliefs you behold, whether, you know, you'll go out and die and kill for a cause, well, it starts with your beliefs. So if your fruits are rotten, it'll be shown by your actions. If they're good, then it'll be shown by your actions. You know, there's so many nuanced areas of our lives that people don't associate with this fear-induced, monetary-based reality. You know, this insecurity produced, this enslavement-induced, what they call reality, that I would like to point out a couple of. And you know I know I haven't touched on all, I haven't even thought of all of them. But things like drug use, you know, people wanting to escape. It's escapist behavior, you know, the addiction to entertainment of some sort. You know, these people, you hear about people slashing their wrists, or all kinds of funky behavior that we say, we try to point the finger, there's something wrong with that person. There's something wrong with that person. They're bipolar, or, you know, they've got this condition or that psychiatric. You know, I was reading about psychiatric conditions online last night, neurosis and psychosis. And the psychiatric community is always changing up terms. They're always got it in flux, because these people are confused too. Because, you know, it's a psychiatric issue one day and the next day it's not, and it's always evolving and changing. And, you know, these people, you know, they don't even know. Half of these people don't even know really what's at the root of it, unless they know the teaching of Jesus, that this is the root of all the evil. The prostitution, you know, the people pushing drugs, okay? It goes on and on and on about all the nuanced, sundry societal ills and issues that we all have to face, and face when we see it in each other. When you come across somebody that's completely out of touch and they're consumed by neurosis or psychosis or some other mental ailment, you know, if you're wise, you know where it came from. You know the root cause. And you know, I watch Dr. Phil sometimes, or I'll watch Dr. Oz, and believe it or not, even on these shows, it comes up, well, what I'm stressed out about is money. I'm worried about money. You know, it really does. It comes down to the mother and daughter fighting, and it's about money. You understand what these people have done to us? And you think I am not right to be angry and frustrated and airing my views? Of course I'm not. I'm right to do it. I'm doing what God compels me to do. I'm trying to fight the good fight and help others to wake up from this and understand there's a root cause, and until we get to the root, we're not going to fix it. We're just skirting the issues. Talking about tweaking the economic system here or tweaking it there is going to save it. No, they can manipulate anything. We, the people, have to seize the money printing rights. Okay, that's it. It has to be federally nationalized, controlled by we, the people. That's the government. That's who should control it. That doesn't make me a communist or a socialist. That makes me, if anything, a capitalist. I know what capitalism, I know what sound currency would bring us. It's just a means to an end of being free from this substance altogether. Because when everybody is feeling safe and free and secure, you don't care about hoarding anymore. You understand? That's why people hoard. They're insecure. So if you know that there's just gobs of extra automobiles and extra housing all over the world, extra stuff, food everywhere, you're not going to need to hoard. So when you collect enough cute little trinkets, coins, and paper money, whatever, you know, they've psyched you out to believe you need to be rich, then, you know, then you're not going to need it anymore. Then you're going to see it as a burden. Now I just got to care for these coins. I got to dust them. You know, you don't care about it anymore. It's useless stuff. You want stuff you can use. You want toys you can recreate on. You want a sailboat, baby. Or you want a jet plane. What do you want? It's okay. God knows it's okay. It's a very natural thing that we're creative. We're inventive. Because we're like God. We're made in the image and likeness of God. So in that sense, we are like little gods. Every one of us. And so we should respect each other and lift each other in that fashion. Exalt one another. You know? It's written that those that humble themselves will be exalted, and those that have exalted themselves will be humbled. Because if you think just because you've amassed a fortune and you're rich and famous and successful, that you're any better than anybody else, you're delusional. It's that simple. So we've got to understand just how roundly, how thoroughly we've all been taken to the cleaners up here in our minds. That's where it starts. So if we expect our fruits to change for the better and other people's fruits to change for the better, then the best thing we can do is try to help them out of darkness, come out of Babylon, come out of confusion. Understand it's not by mistake that you're in confusion. It's not by mistake that you're engaged in all this, you know, self-abuse and self-hatred, and, you know, maybe you hate other people, you know, just because they're just extra traffic on the freeway and the earth's overpopulated, because they've conditioned you to believe that you know, there's got to be traffic on the highways. There's no way. It's rush hour. Who made up the hours? Who came up with the 40-hour work week, which is absurd at this day and age? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. We should have zero employment, zero unemployment, full employment. And we'd be working about a 5-hour work week of our own free will for who we want, where we want, when we want, how we want. That's it. Doing whatever we want. And we could change it up at any time. When being a jack of all trades wouldn't be such a bad thing as it's thought of now, because the inference is that, well, if you do all those things, you're not good at anything. Nothing could be further from the truth. You know, you can learn to be good at anything. Anybody can learn anything. I mean, I feel like a little kid again when I stumbled upon this idea that I actually wouldn't mind flying a fighter jet. I mean, how cool would that be? Over 1,600 miles an hour flying one of these things. That to me would be super cool. And plus, okay, the fact that you've got an ejection seat, you can get the hell out of that thing if you should run into trouble with the motors or something, you know, the jet engine. So, You know, life is so full of so many cool things that we could all be vested in, but yet we're all distracted and detoured by these people. They're controlling us. They're training our thinking to think the way they want us to think so that we behave the way they want us to behave. But that, you know, their time is running short, okay? And they're losing it. They're losing it because we're down to the wire. They want you in fear of nuclear. They love it, okay? And that is a charade. Okay, folks, get educated. I mean, I listen to very intelligent people whom I have great respect for that still believe that the nuclear